Young people should be looking for a way to give back to their community. If everyone just walked away from volunteer organizations, be it fire service, be it Lions Club, things would crumble. I mean, we've grown up with all of these organizations around us that make life what it is today. And fire service is one of those. Fire service was founded by volunteers and still is largely supported by volunteers. At the stage we're at right now in the size of our town, and for any fire department to exist, we're going to have volunteers. The average age of a volunteer fireman in Arkansas is about 60 years old. So our volunteer firemen are getting old. And we're going to have to replenish it just with anything else, any work staff. I mean, you have to replenish it. You have to, build up. It's not like they can just step in today and, have that 30 years experience. Volunteers do the same job. We do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We don't get to leave the station and go home and say, well, I'm off work today. Volunteers are on call 24/7. And we do it because we love our communities. We do it because we want to help people. We want to give back. Or at least that's why I do it. I do it because I enjoy serving my community. I enjoy giving back. I'm so blessed that I couldn't begin to imagine doing the things that I do for any other reason than just giving back.
Approximately 70% of our department is made up of volunteers. And the volunteers are really the muscle of our department. My full-timers make up what I like to think of as the skeletal system, backbone if you will, but my volunteers are the ones that make a difference. They make a difference on the big engagements and particularly on the smaller engagements because we don't always have a lot of people. A first out alarm might turn out 6 or 7 people and a second alarm might maybe bring 2 more. So we're looking at conducting operations with 10 to 12, maybe 14 people. And the key to that is the volunteers that come and that not only come to the emergency but also show up to train because they supply a huge asset to our department. And one of the things that allows our department to run so well is that I've got extremely good volunteers and I've got officers that care about their job and are very responsible in assessing situations and determining what needs to happen. Our guys are eager to do training, and I think that's a key, particularly in the fire service. It's a little difficult with volunteers because people like to arrive at a point where they think, oh, we got this. In most emergency situations, when you start thinking, oh, we got this, that's when somebody gets in trouble. We put in on average approximately 4 to 6 hours a month in training. Now I say on average because we do concentrate on some more advanced training and I try to involve as many of my volunteers as I can in that. There is a time commitment to it that does involve sacrifice, and it's kind of for our area, when an individual joins as a volunteer, their whole family's joining. Because that means dad may not be home, that means that there's things he may have to miss, and I recognize that in the position I'm in, try to make sure those guys have an opportunity to make up for that time, but it is a commitment. I really believe that the Rural Fire Service in the state of Arkansas does a great job between ADEM and the Forestry Commission in helping the rural fire departments. And we can be proud of that, and it would be my desire to see more people in the rural areas become involved with their fire departments because it's a real good thing to plug into, and they can be proud of it.
I've been on the fire department for 34 years, and when we started out we had very little to operate with, but we had very few calls too. and we depended all on volunteers. And so people who could respond during the day that wasn't on a job that they couldn't leave would respond to the fires during the day, and at night the same thing. They'd get up out of their beds and respond if they could at all. And so we depended on them. Nowadays we get fewer and fewer volunteers because we're running close to 1,000 calls a year, which averages around 3 calls a day. And people can't leave their work for that anymore. And they can't be up 2 or 3 times a night and get up and go to work the next day, and which would affect their jobs that provides for their family. So we are strapped, I say, for volunteers. This is our mobile cascade system, which we service the west side of the county on house fires, all fires. We can fill up their air bottles on this truck right here, and it also serves as our medical truck. Volunteer firemen put in a lot of time and a lot of effort and training. They have to train. Just like a professional fire department, they have to do as much training as they can. And we train every Tuesday night. And so the people who can are in town, they come to training and get that training. If you're not dedicated enough to come and train, you may put your life or someone else's in danger. And so instilling in the guys that it's very important to train and to be here, that they are needed and depended upon, their family and the people around them depend on them. They're a great bunch of guys. Everyone has a different personality, and they all have their good points, they all have their bad points, but that makes up a community it's a brotherhood, and that's why we call firefighters brotherhoods, because when you get down here, we act like a family. We may fuss and feud with each other and kid around and play with each other, but that's a family.
My grandfather was a firefighter for 24 years, and I've always had the passion for it. I started out little, liking the fire service, public service, helping others, helping out your community, the people you know, and it just stuck with me over the years. On my days off, I come down anywhere. I come in the morning and I can be here till 8 to 12 hours a day. My captain, he does the same. He comes on his days off, and he works a 28-48 shift on an ambulance service. On his days off, he's here putting in time. The longevity of people staying on the department has been a pretty good rate, because the people on the department's grown up in the community and are established here, and their family's already here. They've bought houses in there or built houses in our jurisdiction in the community, and so I've had a pretty good rate of people staying on the department. The younger people that come in, they might be passing through, staying a little while, then they get married and they move off. And that's the problem I have keeping people with, the younger generation of people staying on the department. And it's just being out in a rural area where, there's no city to be by, a restaurant down the road for them to go eat dinner at.
We train hard to be the best that we can be with serving the community. We want to make sure that we're doing things right. We train on auto extrication as if someone was trapped in a vehicle. We train on first responder for your everyday medical emergencies. And then we train hard as well on firefighting. Some of the challenges are being able to coordinate with everybody else's job to get everyone here. I'll train one person. If they call me up on the phone, I'll come down here and train just one. When somebody calls and needs help, they always want us to be there. And that's some of the problem within the volunteer fire department, is we all have jobs. So we try to be there, but it's not always that we do have the personnel available.
Well, the great things are getting to help people in their time of need. And one of the things that has always been exciting to me is that when we help people, we never give them a bill. And understanding that they pay taxes, so that they're actually paying us. But it's really nice to walk away from something where you've actually helped somebody and you don't give them a bill. They don't get anything. And one of the things about the fire service, I think is what endears us to the public, is when people need us, we come. We're always there. That big shiny rig, and the guys get off in their coats and helmets, and it's, you know, I don't know, it's not, I don't think for us it's not that big a deal, but it amazes me to see the looks on people's faces when you do this. To see a little kid when he sees that thing, or to see some elderly woman when you've helped her, and you can see in their face the relief. So that's pretty neat.